everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a demonstration and review using the My Makeup Brush Set paddle brushes. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to start off by giving you guys a demonstration of how some of the different brushes apply, and then I'm going to be going into an in-depth review of the individual brushes. So I really hope that you guys enjoy. If you do like this video, please remember to give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can stay updated on my videos that I put up every week. All right, I will see you next time. Bye. Okay, so I already have my face primed with the NYX Angel Veil Primer. So the first thing I'm going to go in with is the largest paddle brush, and I'm going to be using my Too Faced Born This Way foundation. So what I have seen is that people are literally just applying a drop of foundation onto the brush, and then they apply it to their face in circular motion. So we'll see how this goes. It definitely, ooh, I kind of like this. It definitely covers like a ton of surface area. Obviously, it's such a big brush. I kind of like it. It feels weird just because, I don't know, it's like super soft, and I don't know, I'm just used to brushes not being quite this soft, but I'm going to try it like this first, where I kind of just like pat it on and then spread it out. I know I've read a lot of things on these paddle brushes that they tend to soak up the foundation, so you can't really go overboard with it, which is nice. So one thing I will say is you really have to blend it out, and you have to go in different types of motions. Like I go circular, and then I'll start lightly brushing it because it can be a little streaky with the application, but it's giving a really flawless coverage. And it's covering like the entire face, which I think is awesome. Okay, next I'm going to be applying my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer to conceal my under eye, prime my eye, and also to highlight. So I'm just going to apply this all over the face. For the larger parts of my face, I'm going back in with the large paddle brush just to buff that out in circular motions. Next, I'm going to go in with the smaller paddle brush, and I'm just going to dab back and forth and then start to blend out my concealer. I normally go in with my damp beauty sponge, so using a brush definitely is a different method for me. And I'm not sure if I like this yet. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see more of how it is working. It definitely shears out the product, so I can say that it does that. It's not going to leave your concealer or your foundation cakey at all. It definitely shears it out for sure, and it picks up all of the excess. It definitely feels weird. It's not like using a damp beauty sponge or anything like that. It definitely feels weird to be using this. But the results of what I'm getting with my makeup application is definitely really pretty. Like, it doesn't look cakey at all. And I'm just like spending a lot of extra time buffing because I'm really anal whenever I use brushes to buff everything out. Okay, so I went ahead and I set my eyes and my under eye area. Some of the stuff I'm going to be doing off camera for you guys, just so that we don't spend a lot of time focusing on that whenever I really just want the bulk of this video to be focusing on the actual brushes. So now I'm going to go ahead and start my contour with the NYX Contour Stick. And since I don't have like a palette of different cream contours, I'm going to be taking one of the contour brushes and just sweeping it over the stick to get some of that product off. Normally, I would just draw it on, but I do want to see how this particular brush works, and we're just gonna give it a try. Now I'm going to use one of the smaller contouring brushes just to get my nose area. And these brushes are just to apply the contour. I'm going to use a different one to buff everything out. But this is going to give us that really sharp contour that we're looking for, or that I'm looking for. Okay, so now that I have applied the contour in the areas that I want to contour, I'm going to be using this little brush right here, if you guys can see that, to buff out the contour. Now that the contour is done, I'm going to be using this little paddle brush and the Milani Luminoso brush, or blush. So I'm just going to dab a little bit like that. As you can see, it really picks up a lot of product. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's definitely pigmented. Obviously, you guys can see that. I don't know if these brushes are really meant for products like this. So I'm going to buff it out a little bit with that foundation brush. I don't know. I feel like they're not really meant for, what am I trying to say? For products that are not cream, for products that are, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? This is so dumb. For products that are powder. Yes, that's the word. Oh my gosh, you guys, total brain fart. But I'm just going to apply, I mean, it applies really nicely, but it's just so condensed to one area. Whenever you apply the powder, that I'm just thinking that they're not really made for powder products, but we're just gonna roll with it since I'm doing a video on the brushes. Yeah, so I definitely think that if I had used like a cream blush, like one of the ones that I have from e.l.f. or my Becca Cosmetics, what is that blush called? I don't know. But I definitely think that it probably would have applied a lot better. But I'm going to go ahead and go in with my highlight shade. I'm using Becca Champagne Pop, and I'm going to use this paddle brush. It is bigger, but I really want a banging highlight today. So I'm just applying it right up here, and then a little bit down towards the apples of my cheeks. Okay, so the very first thing that I wanted to say before I really get into the review is that I do think that these specific kinds of brushes are meant only for cream products. I'm not 100% sure if that is like completely accurate or what the company is going for, but in my experience, as you guys saw in the demonstration, I just really feel like each of the brushes are super dense, and so it makes it hard to like blend out your eyeshadow. It makes it hard to dust off any excess in terms of your like powder blush or your powder highlight, things like that. But what I will say is that in terms of cream products, I love these brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and go in depth with every single brush that I used, and then I'll let you guys know if there's a brush that I didn't use. But before we go into that, I will say that the Artis brushes, I'm pretty sure, run around $400 for their entire set. And then the My Makeup brush set, which is the brushes that I am talking about in this video, are only $29.99, or actually I think $25.99 to $39.99. So a much less expensive version of the Artis brushes. I don't have the Artis brushes, so I can't speak to the quality of those, but I can speak to the quality of these if you guys are curious. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Another thing is that these brushes for My Makeup brush set do come in different colors. So the set comes with 10 different brushes, and each set that they have on their website is the exact same set, but they are different colors. So the one that is $25.99 is just the basic black shade. And then as you go up in price, you have the brush sets that are $39.99, and this is the set that I have. So they have the copper gold set, and then they have an Aphrodite set, and then they also have one that is like a silver, and then the little brush part right here is black. So there are different types of sets that you guys can get in terms of the color. Other than that, the quality across the board is the same in terms of the bristles of the actual brush. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into each individual brush that I use and talk a little bit more about it. So the one thing I will say is that these brushes do not have names for them. So that's why during the demonstration I wasn't able to say this is the E24 or whatever like that, because they don't have names. So I was just saying the big paddle brush. So this one is the biggest paddle brush, and it really does work into getting your foundation into the skin. It gives such a beautiful, flawless finish. I love this brush. It's really easy to work with, and personally, I think that it takes probably much shorter than if I were using like my Morphe M439 brush, just because you guys can see the head size is much bigger. So you're able to cover a much larger surface area of your face with this brush. Another thing that I will say is if you go in with really thick consistency for your foundation, for example, like the Cover FX or the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation, this is going to thin it out. So if you're wanting a really full coverage foundation, even though this gives a flawless finish, this is going to take more of your product away. So if you're going to go in with a thicker foundation because you want it to be thicker, then I would recommend something more like the M439 brush by Morphe, because this isn't going to take quite as much product away from your face as this one will. All right, the next brush that I have is just the step below this one in terms of size, and this one I use to apply my blush. So again, as I mentioned in the demonstration part of the video, I wouldn't necessarily go in with a powder blush with these brushes, just because it's really hard to blend out. It was difficult for me to blend out the Milani Luminoso brush, but whenever I tried the, I have these e.l.f. blushes that are cream. Whenever I put that on the back of my hand, I just did it like after, in between I was filming, and it blended out like a dream. So again, these brushes, in my opinion, are definitely way better suited for something that is a cream product. So I do love this brush just because it gets the cheekbones right there, the perfect amount. It's not too thin, but it's also not too wide. So it definitely gets the cheekbone area right there. there without getting it all over the face. And then the next brush I have is this one right here. Again, it is just another smaller version. And this is one of the ones that I used to blend out my contour. So I applied my contour with this really thin brush right here, and then I buffed it out with this, and then I also use this to apply my highlight. Again, if you were using something like a ColourPop highlight, something that has that creamy, watery consistency, I applied Becca Champagne Pop, the powder version of that, and it blended okay, but I would much rather use something else like a fan brush or another Morphe more precise brush like this one right here. This is the M504, just because I like a more precise highlight. But again, if you're using something like a ColourPop highlight or something like that, this would be a really good brush. Next, just taking another step down, and we are getting smaller and smaller. This brush, again, I use to blend out part of my contour around the forehead area, and this is incredible, incredible. I love this brush. I also use this to blend out my under eye concealer. At first I was like, ooh, this is a little weird. I'm not really sure how I like it, but it's all in the grip, right? So whenever you try something where your hands have a new grip, it's going to feel a little bit weird and a little bit awkward. But with that aside, I really loved how it blended out my under eye area. It just gave such a beautiful, seamless coverage. And again, it made it to where there wasn't cake face underneath my eye. And I also used this to blend out my nose and the rest of my highlight. And then I went back in here and used this brush to do the forehead part of my contour. And so yes, I absolutely love, love, love this brush. The next one down is this little guy right here. Again, it's just another smaller version, and now as you guys can see, we're starting to get more tapered, whereas the larger brushes are a little more fat, and so now we're getting more into the tapered. So I use this one to blend out my nose contour, and I really liked it. I enjoyed the brush. I had to work with it a little bit, and then I ended up going up a step larger, the one that I just previously talked about, just to make sure that it wasn't so concentrated. I really like my contour to be blown out and not super sharp, but I do like this for the nose contour area. And then the next brushes down are these three brushes right here, okay? So let me see if I can do this for you guys so you can really see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so these are your contour brushes. As you can see, they are extremely thin, and then they are much longer bristled towards the middle of the brush, and then they taper down. So that's really nice. This one I used to carve out my cheekbones first. Again, I did use the NYX Wonder Stick, but if you guys have a palette of cream contours and cream concealers, these brushes would be ideal for you. That's definitely something I'm looking to invest in. I just haven't done that yet, but once I do get a cream contour kit, I will definitely be using these brushes a lot more for that. So this specific brush is the larger one, and I literally just carve out where I want that contour to be nice and sharp, and then I blend it out with these two larger brushes. And what I really like about that is that whenever I go in with my little e.l.f. Duo Fiber brush is also whenever I just put this like directly on top, I'm not getting that really thin line that I want. So this is really nice because you can really make the line as thin or as thick as you want, depending on how you use the brush. And then this little guy right here, I use to contour my nose, just add a little bit of the product on the side. And it's super, super precise. It's not something that you can really be messy with, which I find really nice, especially for someone who, you know, contour is still somewhat new to me. I'm not an expert at it by any means, and I really, really love how nice and precise this little brush is. This brush right here, the smaller one of the contour brush, I did not use, so I can't really speak to how it applies, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be very similar. I definitely would say that this is something to use for a very, very precise contour. Like if you're going in with your nose and you want just a little bit of that area, or even if you're trying to carve out your cupid's bow or right underneath your lip, this would be perfect because you're not going to apply too much of the product. The last two brushes that I have for you guys are these two right here. I honestly don't even know what these are used for. I have seen people use them to apply like little dots of the contour and the little dots of the concealer. So I think that's what they're used for. I honestly don't really know. I need to do some more research on that, but I did not use either one of these brushes just because they just seem a little bizarre to me. So all of the other brushes, I'm really excited that they were included in the set, but these two, I don't really know what I'm going to do with them until I get a cream contour kit, but we'll just roll with it, right? So yeah, I honestly really think that these brushes are super cool. I really love that if you have a foundation that you love, or if you have a foundation that goes well with your skin tone or something like that and it's full coverage but you're wanting something a little more sheer, that the paddle brush really does help sheer it out. But it does, I don't want to say that it takes so much away to where you're barely putting anything on. It's not that. It's more of if you have a very full coverage foundation like Cover FX or the Tarte Amazonian Clay, it's just not going to make it look like cake face. So it's definitely going to sheer it out just a little bit, and it's going to apply very quickly. So I know that I will definitely be using this a lot during the week whenever I am having to go to school and stuff like that, because it definitely eliminates a lot of the time that you take blending out your stuff. I'm also really excited about using the different contour brushes and stuff like that, just because I think I want to get more into the whole cream contour thing and using different concealers for underneath my eye. So I will be purchasing a cream contour kit soon, probably like Anastasia Beverly Hills, or I think like IT Cosmetics has one. I'm not really sure, but I'll do some research on that, and you guys will be seeing that soon in upcoming tutorials. So yeah, I really enjoy these brushes. You know, if you're looking to invest in a paddle brush set, I would highly recommend these, especially because the price range is so affordable and you do get 10 brushes, and they range again from $25.99 to $39.99 instead of trying to invest like $400 in a set that you're not even sure if you're going to like. So yeah, and the quality is really good. I have heard a couple of big YouTubers like Myra Touch of Glam, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce her name, but she does have this brush set and she raves about it all the time. So I know that other people like them just as well. And yeah, that's all that I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this review and demonstration of the My makeup brush set. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to mention this was not sponsored at all. I purchased these with my own money. I was not sent to them. They don't even know who I am. So just wanted to let you know that these are, you know, it's my real opinion. I will never give you guys false opinions or paid opinions whenever I am contacted by a company to either purchase something, or if they want to send me something, I do always list that down in the description box if I don't disclaim it right away, because sometimes I forget, because I'm human, right? Okay, so that's it. I am done rambling. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you guys have paddle brushes and tell me what your thoughts are on it. Yeah, leave it in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.